what algebra is all about. The word, the field was derived from a Persian mathematician, Al-Khwarizmi. He wrote a paper on Algebra, J-A-B-R. Thus, it was changed to algebra. Okay, well, it's algebra. Yeah, for real.
Algebra.
Al-Khwarizmi. K-H-A-Z-I. Okay, so it's a lot of words here that you're unfamiliar with. College algebra usually lays the foundation for high mathematics, three levels of calculus. There's a mathematical field called differential equations, linear algebra, engineering mathematics. I did most of those courses at Howard. So it's going to take time, it's going to take repetition, it's going to take a little head scratching to try to see what the heck is going on. But if we can lay the foundation to how to manipulate numbers and quantify numbers and find relationships amongst numbers, we're on our way. Right? So what are the four things that you can do with numbers? What's number one? The most basic.
Add.
Add. What's next? What's next?
Multiply.
And what's next?
Divide.
That's it. All right? So operands are usually the numbers themselves, and operators is what you do to numbers. And the operators are the division sign, the multiplication sign, the addition sign, and the subtraction sign. Those are called operators, to operate on numbers. The operands are the actual numbers that are being manipulated. Right? Okay, this course is designed to develop the analytical skills of students in algebra and apply the knowledge needed in the area of interest, such as psychology, social science. Okay, so let's look at each of these fields, right? It's loading, right? Here it is. Okay, what's the first field? Psychology. Okay. What is psychology? Any psychology majors here? Do you need psychology?
What's the psychology major?
Intro to psychology, right? So I guess it's in depth as a lot of times within that area. But psych means soul. Soul, really. Soul. Psych is soul. Western culture calls it the mind. So whether there's an interrelationship between both, it's yet to be discovered. But psychology, what is ology? Psychology, what is it again? The ology part of it.
Study.
The study of, right? So it goes back to the logos, right? The top of the creation chain. Logic, logos, the Godhead, the creator of all things, Imhotep. So we're looking at psychology. How about social sciences? What does social science deal with? Social science. Society. Yeah. Urban community. How do people live with a certain culture? It comes from cultural anthropology, the study of man and woman in a cultural setting. Right? So if you're from a tribe in Nigeria, Igbo, and you want to live like your ancestors lived in a hut made of straw, you consider it primitive? Because you don't live in a high rise? Huh? You still got a hut, right? You still got to feed your baby, right? And you still have to build things, and you could still learn mathematics using your brain, right? Your mind. And also you can invent things through mathematics, right? So, but social science deals with activities amongst a group of people and how they will want to live their life in a shared culture. We need music, we need art, we need science, we need dance, right? And we need to celebrate, right? What's the other one? Environmental science. What does environmental science deal with? Yeah, your surroundings. Usually, like at City College, they got the School of Architecture and Environmental Studies, so they deal with the environment as well. Landscaping, pollution, how do you take care of the environment for the good of the society that you're living in? Do you go around spraying crops just to get rid of the Zika virus? Huh? You got the formula? Man, you're spraying me too. Huh? And those who are calling the spraying, they're getting sprayed on too. Unless they live in a vacuum. So I'm supposed to create the formula that's going to tell the Zika virus not to bite me. It's absurd, I'm telling you. So here we go. And other fields. Topics to be discussed include real numbers, algebraic expression. So algebraic is just another term for algebra. I'll have that by L by Z in the Persian Empire. All right. So the first thing that we want to do is let me cycle through this slideshow. Hopefully it won't be too overwhelming, and we'll pick it up. Okay. So we're going to try to, okay, so here it is. I spoke about this earlier, right? And this is my discovery, so you're really going to have to use me as the origin of this word when I broke it down, because nobody else was doing it. It's incredible. So the mathematics derived from the ancient Kemetic belief system consisting of Ma'at, Mother Nature, theme, patterns that lead to discovery, and metrics or metrics to measure. Point blank. That's my original. That's why I'm videotaping this so nobody can dispute it. Okay, so these are the different fields that we just spoke about, right? Ancient pyramids with the Sphinx. You taking a picture? You can take a videotape. So this is really, the pyramids were really a power station. You can look it up on the internet. It was a power station.
Is that a power station?
So yeah, it was a power generation station.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like Con Edison has theirs.
But do you know the lines with the Earth? The galaxy.
So yeah, Sirius and Polaris. So and the Sphinx. So there's a documentary on this on the internet about Tesla, who was an electrical engineer from Yugoslavia.
He started that car.
Huh?
That car, he invented the car that runs on electricity.
He did a lot. He's in the 20th century, right? 19 and change. He used to work for Con Edison Westinghouse, and they ripped him off a lot of his inventions. But Nikola Tesla from Yugoslavia, he brought in wireless communication. Big time. That's where we are now, right?
You should be loaded.
He died poor.
Oh my goodness.
Because he wanted to give it to the world.
Wow.
He wanted to bring the world together this way with his invention.
They use terminology.
Maybe I know. Well, we can communicate through Facebook. You have friends. You're not isolated. It's basically, for real. Nikola Tesla. You can look him up. So it could be used for what? Mathematics. Designing bridges, right? You see the measurements? The engineers have to be specific in how they design this. All right? Because it has to carry a load. That's mathematics. All right? You got Y component load, drawing things down, and you got horizontal. It's just incredible stuff. And they're even mapping areas in the brain as well. It could be used in molecular biology. See? All right? To look at the structure of atoms from elements that make up molecules. And this person is doing maybe statistical research right here. So all of that is algebra. So a picture says 1,000 words, which is a Chinese proverb. How to be successful in mathematics? You can't be successful if you don't study it. You can't be successful if you don't take the notes. You can't be successful if you're putting off what you can do today for tomorrow when you got something else to do. What's important? What are your priorities? That's what I'm talking about. But you think I just got all this knowledge like that? Did you have to prepare to deliver this to you today? I got to learn just as hard as you're learning. I'm dead serious. Okay, be sure to attend all class sessions on time. How many folks were late today? James Brown said, you're gonna start with word problems every day and check answers. Do it on your own before teaming up with classmates. Right? You gotta take the competency alone. Review the topics every day. Don't expect to understand every new topic the first time it is introduced. For real. How many times you saw a problem and you just can't figure it out? You can't reason it out right away. Sleep on it, come back the next day and look at it again. For real. And then once you understand it, make up another problem on your own. Nobody says you can't make up your own problems. For heaven's sakes. Don't expect, right? Spend as much time as it takes for you to master the material. Practice, and still more practice will help you to relax and understand. Right? It's almost like a jazz musician learning a tune. Maybe a 12-bar blues, and you kind of learn on the James Brown Sex Machine tune. Back in the day, the other section got to keep practicing until you get their lines memorized. Unless they know how to sight read. Right? I was able to survive with bands in the 70s because of my sight reading. So here we go. Negative reinforcements. Uh-oh. Who came to this class saying I hate math? Raise your hand too. Come on.
I didn't say I hate math. I said I'm scared of the numbers.
Who came to class with?
Saying that I hate math. Were you one of them?
No.
Oh, Paul, you never hated math. Where you from? From Ghana. You from Ghana, right? They put emphasis on science and math in Ghana? You see that? Chinese are not wrong. It's just that we dumbed down in this Western world. I was never good at math. Why even learn it? I'm not going to be a rocket scientist or an engineer, so why do it? Do you really have to be a rocket scientist? Right? You got the same brain capacity as any rocket scientist has. Right? Positive reinforcements. Be confident. You don't have to hate math. And you'll be surprised to discover that you're actually good at it. And with practice and perseverance, you too can become an expert. You probably want to talk math correctly and develop a phobia.
That's
Fear.
me.
Somebody just said a fear.
That's me.
For it over time. You just won't. Matter of fact, you might have had an instructor or a teacher in junior high school that was just flying.
Yeah.
Because they knew it. But that's ineffective teaching. They know it. But you don't know it. And they calculate on
Yeah,
the
you
board.
just put these problems up on the board and just expect everybody to just give them the answer at the end of the class.
That's what it is. But you have to think it through. I can't, I'll show you something, but you have to think it through.
Right.
So, many professions use mathematics to be successful, such as teaching, nursing, psychology, business, accounting, communication, social science, medicine, the 4 branches of engineering, which is civil, chemical, mechanical, electrical, architecture and urban design, building construction, and bridge design. Okay? That's the epitome of the professions right there, engineering. You won't have civilization without engineers or architects. Okay, so here it is, the practice of mathematics. It can be used in molecular biology. Here's an equations. Wait, bridge, parabola. Remember the bridge we just saw? When they, making calculations on load and the structure of it. These are formulas. So each of these letters means something to the engineer designing bridges. Right? Psychology, right? Symbols, right? Look at this. Somebody's
Like
brain.
hieroglyphics.
Well, not really. It's just symbols. You can create your own language, right? This is oh gosh, this is very sensitive. Hold on.
We're back.
No, this is very touch sensitive.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh gosh, man, it's a long stick. But you see the first one, the brain plus what is that light bulb?
That will symbolize enlightenment.
Yeah. And it equals what? What does that look like?
Aye.
An eye. Isn't that simple?
The third eye?
It's so simple. The pineal. What's the other one? What's that a symbol of? You saw this statistic. What's the statistics? Oh, yeah, I remember. Hold on.
I forgot.
Equation.
Oh my God.
Wait, that's equation.
You took statistics?
That's
You follow
equation.
this, right?
Yeah.
It's sigma. It's Greek.
It mean?
Ah,
Me?
it's part of the meaning. It means cumulative. You can add cumulative. Cumulative. It means summation, right? It means 1 plus 2,
Yeah.
whatever you're gonna put in there, right? But you use it to find the mean,
Yeah.
which is x bar, right? Somebody say, hold on. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. So all of this is symbols, right? Okay, you got a dice here, a question mark, a radical sign, the symbol mu. So these are borrowed from the Greek civilization. A lot of these symbols, modern mathematics, for the Greeks. Where the Egyptians used different terminologies to describe events in nature is yet to be researched. Probably buried some cave underneath the pyramids today, or some cave in the Himalayas mountains. Okay, because the knowledge is still out there. Okay, here we go. I'm doing math. Well, this is a book that I wrote online. In elementary school, were you scared to be introduced to a language foreign to you? Were you? Yes, right? Did it confuse you as to its meaning and purpose? Well, welcome to the world of symbols and numbers. Children who recite their times table from memory at an early age begin to exercise brain power. All right? Therefore, it is important to begin at an early age to remove the fear and anxiety of doing math by repeating and memorizing a times table. Is that true? It starts with the times table. So you got to see what numbers have certain closeness to other numbers. Right? The number 1 is the identity number because it exists in all things. Without the 1, you can't have the 2. Let's get metaphysical again. It will eventually lead to critical and logical thought processes in the mind. Moreover, it is never too late to begin to use your brain-mind power. With practice, persistence, and dedication, you can become good at it. So good, in fact, that it becomes second nature. Who can understand that statement? Is it true? Through repetition, it becomes second nature? You first learn how to walk. You took that first step. Somebody guided you, right? How about breathing? Is breathing second nature that you don't have to think about it? What if you have to consciously think about your next breath you take? God. Praise God, He has an autonomous system that takes care of all that. You should be praising God every single moment you wake up in the morning. With practice, persistence, and dedication, you can become an addict. So good, in fact, I read that before. It's never too late to get the mind-brain pattern functioning properly with just a little familiarity through practice. If you don't practice, it's not going to happen. I can't do what Spock does in through osmosis and give you my knowledge, right? That's Star Trek, right? That's a myth. When a child repeats 2 times 2 equals 4, which is English, or this is a symbolic way to look at it mathematically, you can actually write it out. 2 times 2 equals 4. That's a translation from English written statement of a problem with a solution to a symbolic representation of the same. All right? It must translate, or what's the meaning of it? Okay? And it's symbolic language of numbers. It must translate. You can write it in English, you can write it in a symbolic representation of numbers, which is a shorthand method. That's why math is so beautiful to mathematicians, because it's a symbolic language. Right? Towards our world view, seeing how the world operates, Ma'at. Okay, he or she repeats what others have taught them and commit what they learn to memory. Long term. They have to be taught to have fun with it and to be rewarded when they come up with the right answer. That way, they begin to gain confidence and then move on to other aspects of math. A child's brain is in the developmental stages, and they are just learning patterns of human behavior through socialization, Thus, it is a challenge to mentally visualize math concepts at an early age. Huh? Okay. The key to understanding math is to become acquainted to a new world of signs and symbols. That's all it is. Okay. A good beginning in learning math is to memorize the times table. Is that correct? How many folks here have children? How old is your daughter now? She talking and everything? But you gotta do a little math. But she's too young. Is two too young?
No, not for the Asian community.
Wow.
The numbers is like.
What do you teach? You teach her that? You read to her? Wow.
Like saying the numbers is where it starts off. Yeah.
Right.
Like my daughter's 2 and she knows how to count from 1
Oh,
to
very
10.
good.
In Spanish too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so she could turn out to be bilingual.
Yeah.
Who have, raise your hands if you have children. You have children, right? Everybody, you know. You too. I just saw some mail, you have no children, right? Okay. Okay, a good beginning in learning math is to memorize a times table that contains all sorts of interesting patterns. Study the times table carefully and try to come up with your own pattern as to how the table works. 0 is omitted because 0 multiplied by any number on a cell is 0. In other words, nothing from nothing leads to nothing. Since the beginning of time, the number 1 is within all things and thus considered the identity number. Whether you want to philosophize about it or bring religion into the picture is up to your belief system as to whether the supreme power created all things in existence from nothing, thus generating the 1. Math too can be fun if you approach it courageously. The times table is designed to function as follows, right? The top rows are considered columns and the side numbers are considered rows. We're coming to that now. When 2 numbers intersect, multiplication takes place and the result is placed inside the intersecting box. So it should come up. Here it is. All right, here's the table. Look at it carefully. It's a matrix. You can see if I can see it. Put those shades down. You can't do it by the last one. It's probably reflected on here you go. And the other one to the left. That one you don't get it. Okay, so take a look at it. Okay, so this is a 15 by 15 table, right? You start from 1, you go to 15, so you see the pattern? Everything is going by 15, right? It's the pattern I was talking about in mathematics. All right? So if you multiply 15 times with 15, you're going to get the last one, 225. You can do that on your calculator, right? 15 times 15 is 225. How much is 12 times 12? There you go. Right? How much is 13 times 13? You have to memorize that. Is it 169, right? Memorize it.
Not that 12.
Now you got it to 20. Like the kid that numbers.
Yeah, my phone's already
20 times it was a easy
Oh, yeah, really? They want to
all day.
That's good. That's good. The fear of math can be traced to society's neglect in thoughtfully monitoring the progress of the learner. Many people spend most of their waking states listening and speaking instead of observing and using their eyes and ears to accumulate the knowledge that exists around us. It is common knowledge that the average person uses 10 to 12% of his or her brain capacity. You're probably wondering what happens to the other 88 to 90%. And you probably heard this in psychology, right? That we use a very limited portion of our brain power. I keep repeating it. There's nothing to be proud about. The path of least resistance or taking the easy way out is common in society. The expression math is foreign to me indicates that a person who speaks English and never introduces Chinese, Arabic, Swahili, Greek, or any other of the 4,000 languages in the world will not understand those languages at all because they look difficult. That is the path of least resistance without study and effort. But when one has a mentor, teacher, those languages begin to make sense through a learning process. First, the alphabet of a particular language is learned along with the various symbols used in expressing ideas and needs. You speak English, right? What's the first thing that you need to learn English?
A.
The alphabet. What does the alphabet do when you put them together to make sense of the world? You make words. When you string words together, you make what? Sentences to get the ideas across, right? Or make statements. So everything builds on everything else, all right? You can also take it to the atomic level.
I thought it does sign English, so.
That's not verbal, that's power. Because the animal kingdom might deal with just that, not a verbal. It's set. First, the alphabet of a particular language is learned along with various symbols used in expressing ideas and needs. The letters are then combined to make words with sounds that depict certain states and conditions in the world connected to the human mind. Math is a language that expresses ideas, processes, conditions, and measurements, etc. There's more to it than that. But guess what? It takes bravery on your part to want to expand your consciousness. Physiologically, the human being, of all species in existence, has the most complex nervous system with a fully developed brain structure capable of sight, speech, thinking silently, motor reflexes, etc. You don't want to waste such a precious organ. The path of least resistance states that many will live within their comfort zone and will never attempt to learn a new language. Itala, I can hear you. Primarily because it looks difficult. Well, math is no different. The symbols, signs, and numbers scare many. To overcome those fears, a good teacher and a book is needed. Repetition is the key to understanding. So let's go to the next. Most individuals fear mathematics because they're confronted with a problem. They panic due to not having been taught the correct tools and methods needed to properly approach a problem with a focused statement. So if your mind, if you're all over the place and you got thoughts coming that doesn't relate to the problem at hand, then how you going to solve this problem? Right? You're worried about what you're going to cook for a meal tonight instead of worrying about the problem. So either you're a good multitasker, or what can I tell you? The mind gets confused when it lacks preparation. Is that true? When you lack preparation, it gets confused. Anxiety sets in. You don't know which way to turn. All right? I think that's why. It's amazing. Because I can relate that to ninja warriors. Kung Fu, Tai Chi. The warriors always prepare and practice for self-defense when it comes. Isn't that something? So the heart begins to palpitate and the hands become sweaty when deciding what method to use. That is considered anxiety brought on by a lack of confidence and not knowing the method to solve the problem. However, if a person will stay calm and not allow the mind to race towards trying to solve the problem all at once, it would have a better chance of arriving at a correct solution. Solve a problem with the method that you're comfortable with. There might be 3 or 4 different methods to solve the problem, right? You could have an ailment, and anatomically, and you go to 4 different doctors, you get 4 different views on it. All right? So there's different diagnoses that a doctor should know. Same thing with solving a problem. And to diagnose an illness is a problem. However, the thing is the prognosis, how you're going to treat it. However, always know at least 2 other ways to solve the same problem off the bat. All right? Okay, you got to have a backup system. You take an exam, the first one fails, you go to the second one. Okay. Learning is a one-step at a time process that is incremental. It is approached towards greater understanding and meaning. Mathematics is a language of symbols that represents events that occur in real life. It involves processes and events that can logically be solved by methods and procedures that have been created by artists and scientists in the past.